You probably use a computer every single day, right? But have you ever actually stopped and wondered what's going on inside that box? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify the whole thing. We're breaking it down into its most essential parts, piece by piece.
So what is really inside your computer? It might seem super complex, but the easiest way to get it is to think of it like a person. Seriously, it's got a brain, it's got memory, a nervous system, even a kind of soul. By the end of this, you're going to see exactly how this whole team of parts works together in, well, perfect harmony.
Okay, so at the very highest level, every computer is split into two different worlds. First up, you've got the hardware. That's all the physical stuff you can actually reach out and touch. The screen, the keyboard, all the bits inside. And then you've got the software. These are the invisible instructions that tell the hardware what to do. The best analogy? The hardware is the body, and the software is the soul. We're going to start with the body.
All right, let's start building our digital person. And we're going to start with the most important parts, the brain and its personal workspace. This is really the core of the whole operation, where all the thinking happens.
The first, and you could argue the most critical component, is the CPU, the central processing unit. And this is, quite literally, the computer's brain. Every single time you click your mouse, every calculation in a spreadsheet, every move you make in a game, it's all being processed right here. This thing is the master thinker.
Now, a brain needs a place to keep track of what it's working on right this second. And that's where RAM, or random access memory, comes in. You can think of it as the computer's short-term memory. Or maybe a better way is to think of it as the top of its desk. It's where the computer keeps everything it's actively using for super fast access.
So you see, it's this constant dance between these two that makes everything work. The CPU is the thinker. It's constantly churning through information and doing the tasks. But it needs the RAM to hold all that info close by, ready to go in an instant. One does the thinking, the other remembers what it's thinking about in that very moment.
And this explains perfectly why everyone always says more RAM makes your computer feel faster. It's exactly like giving your brain a much bigger desk. You know, with a tiny little desk, you can only have a couple of papers out at once. But with a giant desk, you can have dozens of browser tabs open, a video project, a game, all at the same time. And you can switch between them instantly without everything grinding to a halt.
Okay, so we've got a brain that thinks and a workspace for what it's doing right now. But how does that brain talk to the rest of the body? And if RAM is only for short-term stuff, where does the computer keep its permanent memories, like your photos and all your files? Well, that brings us to the nervous system.
And that is the job of the motherboard. I want you to think of this as the body's central nervous system. It's this giant circuit board that every single component, the CPU, the memory, the storage drives, they all plug right into it. It's what allows them to talk to each other. It is the ultimate connector.
Now, let's talk about that long-term memory. While RAM forgets everything the second you turn the power off, the storage unit is where your data lives forever. This could be an older, spinning hard drive or a modern, blazing fast solid-state drive. All your files, your music, your operating system, it's all saved here, safe and sound in the computer's permanent library.
A body needs senses to interact with the world, and it needs a heart to keep everything going. It's exactly the same for a computer. So, how does it see, hear, and speak? And what gives it the power to do any of this?
To interact with the world, our computer needs senses. We give it information and commands using input devices. The keyboard is how we type and talk to it, and the mouse is how we point and guide its attention. These are basically its ears and its hands, letting it know what we want it to do.
And of course, the computer has to talk back to us. It does that through its output devices. The monitor is its face and its voice, showing us everything it's working on. And something like a printer acts like its hands, creating a physical copy of its work for us to hold. But actually creating what you see on that screen, that's a very specialized job. For that, the computer has a graphics card, which you can think of as the visual cortex of the brain. Its entire job is to take data from the CPU and turn it into the millions and millions of pixels that make up images, videos, and games. This little part is what makes modern gaming and design even possible.
And of course, none of this, not a single component we've talked about, works without power. The power supply unit is the heart of the entire system. It takes the electricity from your wall and converts it into the perfect voltages for every single part, literally pumping life into the machine.
So, we have assembled the body. We've got a brain, memory, a nervous system, senses, and a heart. But right now, it's just a collection of parts, an expensive paperweight. It needs a mind, a consciousness, to actually run the show. And that, my friends, is where the software comes in. You see, this digital soul has layers.
The deepest, most fundamental layer is the operating system, things like Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. This is the computer's core personality. It manages all the hardware and creates the environment for everything else to run. Then, on top of that, you install application programs. Your web browser, your favorite game, your music player. These are like the specific skills and hobbies that the computer learns, and it's what makes it uniquely yours.
And there it is, our complete digital person. We've got the brain that does all the thinking, the workspace that juggles tasks, the nervous system that connects everything, the permanent memory for all its experiences, the senses to interact with us, the heart that provides the power, and finally, the digital soul that brings it all to life.
Every single one of these parts plays an absolutely vital role. But it kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? Is any single part the most important one? Or is the real magic not in any one piece, but in the incredible symphony they all create when they work together?